on in the P. Diddy case. I've been really busy. So we're going to listen to some stuff that's going to update what's going on. I've got 2 videos I'm going to scan through that I think are important. Instead of going through all of the different stuff that has happened the last couple weeks, I'm going to go over these 2 Pacific videos because um, they tell a lot. They tell a lot. So we're going to go ahead and start listening to that. I am here. As you can see, I'm here. But I just kind of do it like this. That way we can concentrate on what we're hearing. So.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if you are Sean Diddy Combs, the prosecutors has hit you with surprise legal docs. You guys, earlier today, what you guys weren't watching, right? Last week was Diddy's bail. The judge was acting like he was really, really close to giving Diddy bail. The prosecutor was literally saying over our blank bodies, you're not going to do that. Interestingly enough, there was pretrial services at the trial. If you guys don't know, pretrial services are usually called in when when bail is heavily being considered. Regardless, you guys, we have the legal docs, the full legal docs of what Diddy said and what the prosecutor clapped back at. The prosecutor said, if you think this case is just about Cassie, if you think this is just a 10-year story of love and hurt and regret or whatever, like telenovela stuff that Mark Agnifilio and Diddy's team are trying to push, they said, no. We have receipts. This man was violent. He was a menace, not just to his romantic partners, but also to his staff. He tried to go and beat one woman's door down with a hammer. Let's also not forget that Diddy Shep at the time that sued him, that ended up winning, actually went on a rat going 10 toes down with Cassie. You guys, we have so many legal docs to get into. You know, we are going to give you the dramatic reading, okay? But I just want to say this. Okay.
What's up, AGM? Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's worse than Epstein, to be all the way real with you. Because of all the different elements that are being played. Personally, I think this is worse than Epstein. And there's definitely more people involved. Let's put it that way. Epstein had a lot of people, but Diddy, well,
because it's been on my mind heavy this weekend about what's going on with Diddy's trial. It's getting weird. The prosecutor did resign. Now,
oh yes. So here, we're going to talk about this real quick. So, the prosecutor, the little bald dude that was all over national news when the indictments and everything came out and he was reading and well, he is resigning. He is resigning because Trump's team's coming in and they're going to put their own DOJ, I guess, in there. A lot of people are wondering, like, what is going to happen, right? And to be honest with you, that should never even be a question. Just because presidents are switching hands should not mean that the cases that are already going on and the the trials and all that, and the victims already telling their stories and shit like that, so we shall see. And if you guys know, if you've been following me, you know there's a lot of conversation. And the conversation's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Are they in court with Diddy right now? No. So we had court the other day. Now, there has been some papers that have been filed since the court hearing. We are still waiting on the court hearing to be announced. And in the process, there's just been a couple things that are being shared about that happened in the courtroom. And also some more documents that have been filed since the court hearing. We have not got a response from the court hearing yet. We're all still waiting. It's supposed to be sometime this week. We all thought it would be Monday. Monday came and gone. Still nothing. It's Tuesday. It's 2-something in New York because they're on the same time as I am. So nothing yet. So we'll see. Wasn't the decision supposed to happen yesterday? Yes, the decision was supposed to happen. Yeah, the decision was supposed to happen yesterday. Well, that's what we all kind of assumed, right? Because we figured being that there's the holidays and all that kind of stuff going on. You're in South Florida. Okay. I'm in Kentucky. Hi, how you doing, babe? So I do listening parties like this sometimes, and what it is we just react to some videos. Do talk about the stuff that I've know as well. So for those that don't know, hi, my name's Summer. Hi there. My name's Summer, and I am a human trafficking survivor, and I do a lot of work in the anti-human trafficking field on a national level, actually. And then, when I have time and things like that, I go over cases like this. I just react to them. I'll break them down from a survivor's point of view, because there's a lot of language in there. Sometimes people don't understand, or maybe we have a lot of people that'll be like, "Well, I just don't know how this can happen." I'll give my breakdown and my opinion on how things like this can happen. So Texas was Alex Jones. Hold on one second. Resides. Oh, is it? All right, so we're going to listen a little bit more, then I'll chit chat a little bit more. We'll listen a little bit more, chit chat. Please, everybody, double tap that screen. You don't even have to leave to hit the thumbs up. And if you have not, ring a ding, ding, ding your bell. So, my thoughts on Allie Carter. Okay, my thoughts on Allie Carter. I believe her. I think there's a lot of stuff that is really wild. And as a human trafficking survivor, I can tell you that I believe a lot of what she says, and it's not for me to not believe her, right? But I can tell you that just from the things that I know are real, because I know they happen. I don't need to have been there. You know what I mean? Because I know when you know, let's put it that way, right? So there are some things that I get. Some people are like, "Oh my God, this is like really wild," but that's human trafficking, you guys. Shit's really wild. That's why no one ever believes us, because of the shit that happens. Spiritual ritual abuse is a very real thing. When you get into high dollar people like these people, millionaires, billionaires, people that got a lot of money, got a lot of power, they're sick, dude. They're sick. So, and Allie's been speaking up for a long time. Like, if you've been following anything and you know anything about anything, she has been speaking up for a while. Also, if we're going to believe Jaguar, if we're going to believe all these other people that have been speaking up for a very long time, I'm damn sure going to believe her, Miss Allie. So, and I do know that, because I have some people reach out to me and they're like, "But Summer, it's just so much, right?" Like, and it is so much. And that's why HG survivors are usually fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, we have a lot of trauma we have to deal with. Whether if you're on a lower level or a high level, you're dealing with power and control. You're dealing with sick people. So, all right, I'm going to push play. We're going to listen a little bit, and then I'll come back on. If you guys have questions of anything you're hearing, this is Tessa Tells. She's a chick that I listen to a lot. I listen to people that will pull court documents. I listen to the rumors as well, okay? But I'm the type of person, I do a lot of different court support and shit like that. And I can tell you that's, what's at the end of the day, what's going to keep him behind bars is oh yeah, honey, I love her. She's amazing. And I'll do my own research, and then I'm like, I see that she does her, my stuff will line up with her. And then there's another chick that also, and these are women that I know do the work. They gonna pull them court papers. They not playing around. You know what I mean? Like, none of that. So we just gonna scan through, listen to some things, because I am busy doing a lot of the work in my community and working and stuff. So it's hard for me sometimes to break down things. But I can do it like this and kind of go over, which I usually agree with everything Tessa says. So, all right, we're going to listen a little bit more. This is her latest video that she just put out. We're going to scan through it, because there's another video that I definitely want to get into. And she has court documents that have been filed today. So I want to, Tessa has some court documents too. And she probably has these ones as well. She just hasn't put a video out yet. So we'll listen to the two of them, both amazing chicks.
He said the reason he's resigning is because of,
and I want to, don't worry, your knight in shining armor is here to save all. Yeah. So there is a lot of conversation. I'm telling you guys right now, from all the way from the survivor community, which that's where I'm from, all the way to the YouTube screeds to it's serious conversation that his lawyers are in conversation with Trump's team to try to get a pardon. Um, I don't know if you guys heard the phone calls the other day that was released by him, by that pitiful made some jail calls. And honey, he's hot on the mic. You could tell this motherfucker don't. He just thinks he's untouchable, honey. He was saying some ridiculous shit on these phone calls. Like, you know, you being recorded. What are you doing? Like, but that's what power and control could do. So, so with what she's talking about now with the AG, you know, resigning and everything like that, and he wants to resign. Rumor has it that it's because he wants to still get his benefits or retirement or something like that. I guess the last person, Trump didn't approve any retirement for them or something. I don't know. But here we are. Hello, hello. How is everybody? Holler.
The Trump administration's coming. Trump says that he wants his replacement in. Trump's replacement hasn't even gotten approved by Congress. To me, it's very odd that he is resigning. Some people said that he is resigning so he can get retirement. You only been U.S. attorney for 3.5 years. What retirement are you talking about? But more importantly, Trump's person, Jay, people are saying that Diddy's team thinks that the new head of the Southern District of New York will be a lot more lenient toward him, if you know what I say.
And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm going to have a huge problem. And for all the people that support Trump, if y'all don't have a fucking huge problem, if they pardon this man or he fucking lets this man out, like if he does anything to be involved in his case, no, he's not. He's not. Not if he gets involved with this. There are so far up to 26 fucking children that are involved in this case. Allegedly. I'm going to say all this, allegedly. But I believe every single one of them. And I'm going to tell you right now, if that clown sits here and gives this man any help to fight against this, well, Biden ain't no good either, baby. Ain't none of them good. We don't do politics. We do people. I don't give a fuck.
Diddy's
only reason I'm bringing it up is because we're talking about a federal case, an anti-human trafficking RICO case, and all the other shenanigans this fucking clown's done. And if they let him go or anything like that, like, dude, there's going to be an issue.
Still has not given up dreams of getting out. His legal counsel is said to be trying and considering anything that can get him out, including a presidential pardon, if that could get him out. Now, whether Biden or Trump chooses to give him a presidential pardon, that's one thing. For everybody is wondering, you can get a presidential pardon even before you
That's
have
right.
charges brought up against you. You don't need to be convicted of a crime. President can set you free or make you not guilty of anything at any time. But let me just say this about Diddy's trial that's getting weird. And it's been heavy on my mind.
Well, I hope he
this
does
last
what,
week.
I hope. Oh, shit.
Hey,
My bad,
hey,
y'all.
what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is...
And I came out wrong. My bad, y'all. Well, he can focus on all the worst stuff he wants to, baby. And all he needs to do, he needs to keep his little fucking grimy hands out of and away of this case. Unless he's going to be putting him underneath the fucking jail. And that not only for him, because Biden and Trump can do it. Give him a pardon. But I haven't heard any conversation in the circulation of things about Biden. I have heard things about Trump, though. As far as helping P. Diddy, pitiful with this case. Allegedly. This is all allegedly. Just FYI.
News. I think personally, if anybody has not gone to any legitimate channels that are begging to actually get you on there, that there is a reason why. And again, people could be afraid, but if you're that afraid, how are you coming out public anyway with no protection? Again, just like Courtney Burgess, just like Ariel Mitchell, just like so many things, okay? The Jane Doe from the Douglas Wigdor lawsuit, that Jane Doe was still a Jane Doe. She hasn't been revealed at all. She's fighting in court right now not to reveal her name. The picture of the girl with her face blurred out of sitting on Diddy's lap, that was actually presented by Douglas Wigdor, the man that took down the International Monetary Fund, the man that represented Cassie. He submitted that as evidence. They are fighting right now to keep her name from being revealed. Nobody that has representation that is a Jane Doe is going on content creator channels being like, it's me. It's not. They are all fighting the good fight in court. And again, everybody can do what they want. I'm not talking about anybody's story in particular. I'm saying to the public, Diddy is playing, he's playing dirty. He is a master manipulator. Do you see how as soon as this is why the prosecution locked him up. He's a master manipulator. Do you see how as soon as he was able to get access to talk to anybody, he started this PR offensive of lies, manipulations, and Trojan horses. We've come to the point where we cannot believe everything.
Will Trump let the law that are already on the books come into play? I don't know, sweetie. I'm one thing people learn about me is and AGM, you know me, well, a little bit anyway. I stand on humanity more than anything. You know, I'm a person that don't talk about it, be about it. So we go into the community, we help, we do everything we can, because these politicians, left, right, green, yellow, are all fucking weird.
We hear, unfortunately, Diddy's team is banking us having a soft heart. Diddy.
So when I was listening to her on this, and I have to go back and look at some stuff, but I was curious. Okay, so there's this new chick that has came out. I forget this young lady's name. God forgive me. But she just came out recently. This one YouTuber did an interview with her. And he's being really weird about it. Like, he's not letting anybody, you can't even share the shit he's threatening to, you can't react, you can't do anything. He's like, I'm gonna take you down, da 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 da. But anyway, this young lady, now I will say this. I don't know if she's the young lady everybody's talking about in the pictures, right? I will say, whoever this young lady is, something has definitely happened to her. There is no doubt about it in my mind. I don't know if, supposedly so there's been some pictures, not supposedly, there's been some pictures that have went around, and that's kind of what she's addressing right now, that have went around, and this young lady's laying on a table and people are eating food off of her. She was like, I think she said she was 13 at the time. Then there's another picture of a young lady sitting on Diddy Pitiful's lap, and she said she's 13, 14, somewhere around some time. Now I watched the interview the other night. I watched part 1. I'm not gonna lie, I had to kind of hold off for a second, and I'm gonna watch part 2 tonight while I'm at work. Because there was just a lot. There was a lot of things that she went into very graphic details about that are things that have happened and can happen to victims. So I don't know for sure if she's the young lady. Now the reason why I say that is because, and I stand on what Tessa says. Like, seriously, she does the fucking work. The Jane Doe in those pictures allegedly is still in court fighting for her name to be redacted so it doesn't come out and stuff. So that tells me the young lady that I watched in that interview, I hate doing this, but she kept saying she needs a lawyer, she needs a lawyer, she needs a lawyer. If it was the same person, then she would already have a lawyer, because she's fighting in court to keep her name out of, because as some of you all know, Diddy has asked for all of the victims' names, right? And the government's like, we don't really want to do that, because motherfucker, you got a history of blowing cars up, you got a history of doing all this weird shit, so we ain't really trying to do all that. So I don't know, but I will say this: the young lady that was in the video, and I'm gonna put the video in my members only, that way the guy tries to strike me, I'm just sharing it, I'm not even fucking reacting to it. So, but I'm gonna give it a shot, because I do think it's something that people should watch. I don't know if this young lady is another victim that came out and whatever, but at the same time, I know that something happened to that baby girl. I know it. I can feel it in my spirit. I can tell by her body language. I can tell by her memory lapses and the things she does remember. I can just tell. Being a survivor and being an advocate, I can tell that something, and I do believe something so in this scrim of people have happened to her. Uh, but I'm gonna wait, and I think that's kind of what Tessa's going over right now. She's like, "Listen, y'all, we gotta stop reacting to every single thing. We gotta kind of hold back a little bit and see how things come out." Because there's another situation that one of the young ladies is suing the security guard, and said that he was there in the room when a bunch of stuff happened. Now the security guard has thrown a lawsuit back on her. Now that does not mean that she is lying. That does not mean that she's not telling the truth. From my understanding, first of all, that her lawyer, I forget, I can't my TV. I can't remember her name, Galbraith or some shit like that. She is a powerful ass women's rights lawyer, and I'm telling you right now, y'all, she's not going to take no case that is not sealed tight. She's not going to do that. She's at the end of her road. This woman has done made a name for herself. She does not need to do any of this, but she is representing the one of the victims. From my understanding, it's been said that he said that he said that she said she was trying to bribe him to be on her side. So he showed a bunch of screenshots and says he has all these screenshots, right? This is where shit gets messy at. But but a lot of people have said, and I guess the lawyer and them have came out and said, we'll see him in court because we know those screenshots are fake. So I'm not one to because I believe victims, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't believe that young lady because any of them young ladies, because I do believe something happened to those young ladies, especially the one that has the video that just released that she says she's the picture is the one in the pictures. There's no doubt about it that something happens to that baby girl. You know what I mean? So just taking me and Poach for her evening walk. Aw. Okay, see you soon, AJ. So, all right, let me get through this so we can get to the goose of this stuff. Sorry, y'all. I get to jabbing and talking and blah, blah, blah.
This team is banking on us being like, oh my God, this must be true. But now that the federal government has evolved, it is different. It is different.
Right.
You can dial, let me make sure.
Yep.
188, it's either 888 or 877 for HSITIP. 1-877.
What I want to know, and this is what I'm trying to understand as far as like when are there's supposed to be more indictments coming out when it comes to Diddy and other people, and that's what I want to know. Like, when is those indictments gonna start hitting? Because you know what I'm saying? Like, there's been a lot of shit, dude. Listen, his sons have went out and tried to jump people. There's been all kinds of shit. I don't see how they're gonna let this man out of jail. I really don't. And I think that if they let him out of jail, this is the only theory. And then I'm gonna get back to the video. Sorry, y'all. I just haven't talked about this stuff in a while, so I got a lot on my mind. My bad, y'all. This is my theory, though. Okay, I do kind of have a theory. Listen to this. So Epstein is in the same prison that Pitiful is in, right? Allegedly, Epstein his self, right? That's what they tried to tell everybody. They tried to tell everybody that man rapped himself. Well, that didn't happen. I don't believe. I believe somebody rapped him, right? So they can't, and I believe that the powers to be, because I've seen this happen in a lot of different situations. And again, I'm coming from, I would say, an expert because I survived this shit. Expert's point of view. They can't yeet him there because it'll be too obvious, right? So if they do give him bail and they do allow him out, and then he ends up yeeted, then I'm gonna say that their mission was done. And I think it'll be bullshit because just like I don't believe. I know a lot of you all out there believe that all these, pedos and all these, robbers and all these people should just be took to the firing line and executed. And I understand why you all believe that. But for me, as a survivor, I don't believe that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because for the rest of my life, I have a traumatic brain injury. I have body injuries that I have to live with for the rest of my life. I have triggers I have to live with for the rest of my life. I have nightmares and all this shit that I have to deal with for the rest of my life. I don't get an exit. I don't get an out. Like, I'll probably have to go to counseling the rest of my life. I will be fucked up the rest of my life. And so somebody that goes out here and just gets yeeted, then they just kind of get to escape. Like, the people that trafficked me, all of them but one is dead. I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it was done, and people ask me all the time, how do you feel about that? I mean, I don't know. In some sense, sometimes I feel good about it because I don't ever have to worry about that again. But then sometimes I'm like, I would have liked to see them motherfuckers go to prison, because I'm gonna always be left with the things that happen to me, and it's not gonna change. The memory losses, the just everything. And so sometimes I feel like when these situations like Epstein happen, I believe it's kind of the victims get cheated in some sense. And I know personally one of the victims from that case. If you go back on my page, we actually were in New York when Maxwell's trial was going on. A bunch of survivors from all over the world, all over the nation, came together in New York. We did a rally for the survivors, and we did a bunch of support for them up there while they were going to court. We went up there for a weekend and did that. Well, we were there for a week, really, but we did the rally and stuff on a weekend, which is on my page. You can go back and find it. So I'm not just somebody that sits here and talks shit. I'm actually somebody that gets up and does the work. And when this trial goes, if this trial ends up making it, I will do everything in my power to make it to New York. I'll do everything in my power to get in the courtroom, but even if I can't get in the courtroom, I want to be outside. I want to be a presence. I believe when things like this happen, survivors and people that support anti-human trafficking should be a presence. And so I'm going to plan a rally, or we're going to do something, because baby, it's in Cinco de Mayo too, so it's going to be eyed up in New York. Last time it was fucking cold, so with Maxwell's court case. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Let me shut up, and let's play this video. I'm sorry, y'all.
7 4 HSITIP 18774 Homeland Security Investigations TIP. If you are in danger, they will get you protected. If you're being threatened, they will bring you in. If you feel afraid to tell your story, they will do. If you are afraid of Diddy getting out, they will throw a shield of protection over you and use what you say confidentially to make sure that mofo don't see the light of day. How is it that all of a sudden everybody's still acting like we're in the same playing field from 2 years ago, when everybody was too afraid to speak of Diddy? That mofo is in jail. If you see something, if you've been through something, say something. And for the people that refuse to bring their stories to court, to bring their stories to the authorities, to bring their stories out, but yet they're going on random channels talking about, oh, I'm doing this because I'm afraid. Afraid of what? You literally just put yourself out there to get the Diddy special. And according to the feds, we know what the Diddy special is. Anyway, listen, y'all. I've said my piece, but I will keep saying it. The water is getting muddied. One of the most skillful things you can do is throw dirt. Look at some of the people that were talking the most trash, having the most. What are they doing now? The voices of reason. What are they doing now? Again, the way, and I'll get off of this, but I just want to teach you guys PR 101. And I know the people that know PR know this. The way you do a payoff is not to throw money and people just shut up. Because that makes us stand up and be like, well, wait a second. You were saying ABC yesterday, and now you're saying BDF. What's going on? The way you do it is you throw money at the people. That can be paid off. And baby, there are a million people saying they believe the victims, but I know they broke. I seen the ring light in the kitchen, and I know they doing what they can, right? No shade. I know what y'all say. T said half the time you only got a ring light. And you would be correct in that. Okay? Yes, you would be correct. But my point of the matter is, what you do is you give money, and then you don't have a counter narrative. You start bending toward the arc. Whenever there are fake victims, mentally ill people being exploited for interviews, saying things that can clearly be disputed from jet logs, phone logs.
And listen, I'm not saying whatever, but I am saying that I agree with her on this, because this is something that we have to be careful on. Sometimes there are people that will have had things happen to them and feel like that they never got justice, and then they will insert themselves into things. Now, and again, I believe I know what girl she's talking about. I do. I believe wholeheartedly the interview of the young lady that was supposedly sitting on a lap that just came out, that the YouTuber, the guy that did it, he's like, fuck all y'all, you share, you react to my stuff, I'm striking your page, I'm getting your page taken down. I mean, he even pretty much said that in the beginning of the thing. I mean, there's a part 1 and part 2. I'm going to also say that I do believe something happened to that young lady. I don't know, because I don't have the evidence in front of me. And if she is the young lady that is in court, that is fighting everything, then, well, then that's why I feel like something definitely happened to her. But from my understanding from court documents, that there are, the Jane Doe that's in some of these pictures and stuff, is in court fighting for her name not to come out. So that's why. But again, I do believe something happened to that young lady, and she very much might well be. But the only thing in the interview, she kept saying, "I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer," and I feel like that this YouTuber, in some sense, almost took advantage of her. For some of you all that have been following me, different community, but you all know that there was a gentleman that I got into with it about 1.5 years ago, because he sat down with a victim, and he, quote unquote, let her tell her story. There was alcohol involved and all kinds of other shit. And I, as an advocate and as a woman, I was like, and as a survivor, I was like, what the fuck? And I called him out for the shit. And, kind of got into some, back and forth with him for a little while or whatever. But, you can't do that. You can't take advantage of victims. You can't take advantage of people that are vulnerable and that are going through things. And I'll be honest with you, from watching and I'm gonna get the YouTuber's name, the guy's name, because I forgot again. I don't have my notepad out today. For those that don't know, it's my daughter's birthday, so I'm running around doing all that and still trying to do this, trying to get caught up on everything. But because I think he took advantage of this young lady. That's just my opinion.
Pictures, but more importantly, just tying themselves, right? Saying things that can be easily proven to be lies, right? Saying they're afraid to go to the authorities, but they're on random YouTube places, random TikToks, random Instagram, random wherever, right? My whole point of the matter is, it's not that I'm saying don't believe them. I'm just saying that know that the devil's hand is in play. Right. The devil didn't wage a war against heaven and still managed to conquer half the earth playing fair.
I agree.
Truth coming to light is only the biggest part. Then it's timestamps in or just spread it, but maybe this is my channel, and I'm giving a PSA. The good stuff, because this is going to get good. Also, shout out to Valerie Renee for keeping me in the loop. And also Cherry Couture. Hold on really quick, you guys. I know what y'all thinking. Don't.
And then please, if you guys, if one of my mods is any of my mods in here? I don't know. I'm going to get the thing. And we're going to share this video on my community page, so anybody could go. Please sub to her. Please go and listen to her. She always comes with the facts. And there's people that try to drag this woman, but I can promise you, Tessa knows what she's doing, and she knows what she's talking about. So, because I have also, in my members only, we download some of the court documents and we upload some of the court documents, so you can go back and you can look for yourself on these court documents. Now, I got some more to upload, you guys. I know, I've been busy.
Okay. The defendant's conduct constitutes obstruction of justice and poses a danger to the community. So they give us the definition of obstruction. Do y'all want me to read the definition? I'll speed through it really quick, and then we're going to get into what they said Diddy did. It is a doozy. We are just beginning to cook. The prosecution literally threw everything but the kitchen sink at Diddy. If the judge lets him out at this point, baby, I don't know what to say. The court asked the parties to address the definition of obstruction in the bail context. Now, mind you, also, the prosecution low-key seems to be schooling this judge. This judge has only been on the bench for 2 years, and the fact that he is literally playing with these things about what could obstruction be, they said, under which obstruction of justice has been a traditional ground for pretrial detention by the courts. Okay. They said, concluding that pretrial defendants' attempts to influence witness testimony present danger to the community that would support detention. They said, while the Bail Reform Act does not define obstruction of justice, district courts have interpreted obstruction in the pretrial detention context broadly to include willful actions that jeopardize the integrity of judicial proceedings. Then they're citing the same case, saying many of Diddy's obstructive acts discussed further herein easily fall within that broad categorization. And so a persistent, brazen effort to...
By the way, hey, Crazy, I seen you come in, sweetie.
...properly interfere with the criminal case. Importantly, obstructive behavior supporting pretrial detention need not rise to the level of criminal conduct. They're citing a bunch of laws right now. I'll skip through them. But they found that one defendant's threat to a family member, which resulted in revocation of the defendant's bail, constituted obstruction of justice because defendant willfully obstructed or impeded the administration of justice. So basically, they're saying threats can be obstruction of justice, right? They also cited another case saying applying a preponderance of the evidence standard and finding that the defendant posed a risk of future obstruction when he had violated orders of another court, used burner phones, made public accusations about his criminal prosecution, and provided obstructive messages to followers via video and social media. That was United States.
I do believe he's done all those things. Just saying.
V. Kwok. That was a big one in 2023, if you don't remember. Again, they're citing cases that acted like Diddy. Now, this is just a warm-up. It's about to get good because they're laying the ground. They said, and in the cases in which obstruction is part of the charged offense conduct, like here we have in Diddy's case, courts have detained on the basis of risk of future obstruction. They cite United States v. Hui, saying where the defendant was charged with conspiracy to suborn perjury related to other counts of the indictment, the court found that strict pretrial supervision and electronic monitoring of the defendant would provide little protection against future obstructive conduct. Now, keep this in mind as we move through.
Now, I'm just going to say this. We're all watching this together, so this is the first time that I've watched this all the way through. I will say this. Just from the jail phone calls that were released a couple weeks, a week ago or so, whatever it was, honey, he's definitely obstructive.
Because the prosecution starts to cook. They said, here the defendant's actions fall easily within the definition of obstruction. Indeed, it is significant evidence that Diddy has engaged in multiple acts of obstruction during the time period relevant to the charged offenses and poses a serious risk of continuing obstruction. As set forth below, these acts include multiple acts he took in an effort to stave off the instant criminal charges, as well as acts he continued to undertake even after the indictment was returned in order to dissipate the potential evidence against them. Okay, let's get into the next one. It's not done. They said the racketeering conspiracy offense in count 1 alleges acts of obstruction as set forth in the indictment. In 2016, Diddy bribed security officers with $100K in cash to destroy evidence of the brutal assault on Cassie while they were at a Los Angeles hotel for a freak-off. Okay, in 2016, he bribed the hotel security officer, to make the original video go away. In doing so, the defendant relied on intermediaries to reach out to security staff and help carry out the cover-up. This act is alleged as part of a bribery racketeering conspiracy predicate. Moreover, let's also not forget with that, not only did he bribe to go away, but his lawyers at the time and his intermediates also helped, and also the accountants, because they helped facilitate the actual payoff. They said after Cassie filed a civil lawsuit in 2023, alleging, among other things, that Diddy's participation, also in the trial, in the last trial documents, I'm talking about the ones they just filed for the fighting over bail, Diddy's team literally tried to say that there wasn't a freak-off going on, even though there was a male blank worker. Okay. They said after Cassie filed this lawsuit in 2023, alleging, among other things, that Cassie's her own participation in freak-offs was not consensual. The defendant made multiple efforts to interfere with the victim and witnesses by feeding those individuals
Welcome back, AGM.
false narratives regarding Diddy's criminal conduct. For instance, the defendants calls intermediates, former and current security staff. They put that in quote unquote. It leads us to believe that Diddy's security will actually be listed as co-defendants. Many victims who have filed in court have said that many victims that have filed in court have said that the security guards also partook. So,
and this is the thing, right? There's a lot of security guards. If you've been following this case, you got Gene, you've got all these different security guards that have came out and spoke, right? And this is my thing. Like, the more and more you have these people come out and you have these security guards talking about this stuff. And I'm going to go all the way back to when Diddy, Biggie and Tupac was alive, right? Because if you guys know this case, you know that allegedly, and I believed for a very long time, that Pitiful had something to do with Pac and Biggie shit. Granted, all this is allegedly, but if you know, you know. So my thing is all these security guards, like, how can they not be liable for something? Like, we're talking about minors being involved, we're talking about grapes happening, we're talking about all this stuff happening, and these guys know about it because they're all over YouTube talking about it. How are not near one of them not responsible for something?
All the action. So it looks like they are going to be listed as co-defendants. But let's get into this. They said by current security staff, they put quote unquote security staff, to repeatedly call a former employee who had witnessed firsthand the defendant's abuse of Cassie. The intermediates told that employee in sum and substance that what she observed was a normal relationship. Around the same time, and as highlighted at a prior hearing, the defendant recorded 2 phone calls with a different victim. Victim number 2. I wonder who victim number 2 is, though. Is it Gina Hahn? In which the defendant attempted to feed the victim number 2 a false narrative regarding her involvement in free calls, namely that they were consensual. Okay. The defendant, and again, Diddy recorded those 2 phone calls because he thought by taping it, he could use it in court. But the feds are like, but that is literally pro se, like, whatever. The defendant has evidently deleted messages between himself and key witnesses. Now, I do believe these messages were actually on, what do you call it? I think they were on Signal. For those of you guys that don't know, when messages are on Signal, the government actually has no access to those messages. Now, how do they know that Diddy sent those messages? Because what happens is, unless the person receiving it shows those messages to the government or shows screenshots, but even then, unless the government has the phone at the moment the text message is seen, it's very hard to prove. What is their record of? There's a record that a text message was sent and received. That's the record. But what's actually in those messages, unless they have screenshots or the victim or witness or whatever is cooperating, they really don't know what it is.
And that's why a lot of people use Signal, because they don't have to worry about that aspect of things.
Trying to say that by Diddy sending messages and deleting them, well, it's proving the case. But listen, you guys, we're getting to the good stuff, but we have to lay this foundation down, okay? Again, when it comes, somebody asks, so is California not going to file charges? Let me just say what I've been hearing. Federal charges are one thing. I believe to some extent that if California does not get in on this action and start filing charges, they're going to have a lot to answer for. Not with the federal government, but we have to wonder how all these things happened in California. And Diddy had a cleanup crew that always evaded anything coming up. Okay, let's get into this. They said Diddy has evidently deleted messages between himself and key witnesses, including a grand jury witness and victim number 2 in this criminal case. One of these witnesses, witness 1, a male commercial blank worker who participated in free calls and received a grand jury subpoena during the investigation. After defense counsel represented unequivocally at the prior bail hearing before Judge Carter that the defendant would not reach out to grand jury witnesses, it became clear that Diddy had done just that. Phone records and electronic evidence shows that.
If you guys remember in the beginning of this, when we started talking about this, and I talked about how everybody was like, oh, but Pitiful was supposed to turn himself in and blah, blah, blah. But the feds went in and grabbed him, right? And they did that for a couple of reasons. They did that because, again, if the feds grab you, they can withhold bail. But also, and their main argument through all this has been that he was harassing victims while all this was going on. Who controls the cost of the system? Exactly, AGM. The court. Who controls the court? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I read it still right. That's where my dyslexia comes in. You can leave a letter out and I can still read it just like it's the right way. But anyway, he had been harassing tons of victims. And so that's why they picked him up when they picked him up. And a lot of people have been saying, oh, well, he doesn't have bond because he's a flight risk. Well, I guess that is a key of it. That is not the major key. The major key is he continues to harass victims. This whole time when he was in New York, everybody's like, oh, his lawyers were like, oh, he came to New York and he's cooperating and he's doing good. And that's why he came up here before he was even asked, because he was trying to cooperate with the feds. No, he wasn't. Him and his people were harassing victims. So, yes, he is. Well, and during the hearing, if you guys didn't hear, there's plenty of videos, and I'll share one that maybe I'll share one of hers. So she breaks down the whole court thing, right? When she's actually talking to, because there's somebody tweeting in the case that's in the courtroom. Then they tweet out, and she does a live thing with that. So I'll share that video as well. But what was I saying? Shit, I fucking lost my track of thought. What was I just saying? I'll tell you in a second. I forgot where I was going.
Diddy contacted the witness even after he was ordered not to,
right?
Repeatedly leading up to and after his appearance in the grand jury. And then Diddy apparently deleted the messages from his phone. All right. There were further communications and there were text messages through this entire period. All right. Oh, what is this? Okay, let's get into this. Okay. In the lead up to his arrest, the defendant similarly appeared to delete messages from victim number 2, including related to the significant monetary payments he was continuing to buy her.
I know what I was saying. Him and his people were in New York the whole time while he was sitting there acting like he was cooperating with the feds and all this stuff, and he was just trying to be this great client and da-da-da-da. The whole time him and his people were in New York for that little bit of time, they were harassing victims. And so that's where the, phone calls and text messages and different things like that are coming into play. Welcome, HV. How you doing, sweetie? Welcome.
Now, while Diddy was being detained at MDC, the prosecution also says that Diddy has used multiple unauthorized means of communications.
Messy, honey, messy. He was messy. He was, and he continues to be messy because, again, these phone calls that were released from jail, for those that have heard them, he was sitting there telling his son, make sure the pizza boxes are empty and all that. He was just saying all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? He thought he was being slick. He thought he was being funny. Like, these people don't know code words and don't know what he's trying to say. Like, no, you fucking clown. You're not, he even said, he's like, oh, I'm about to get bail. And I mean, it's just, if you go to court and your attorneys, yeah,
but make it difficult or impossible to monitor his communications.
And his lawyers are stupid too, because they went into TMZ and all this shit and like was victim shaming and all this other shit. Like, dude, they're messy.
The government's substantial investigative efforts have identified some of the accounts that Diddy is improperly using, and the government has obtained and produced.
I call it pitiful, just pitiful, because he's fucking disgusting. And his mama, oh, don't even get me started.
Those communications.
And the way he groomed his sons, it's just, as a survivor of human trafficking, it just disgusts me, because that's what happens sometimes is, you get some of these people like this that for generations they groom. I believe his mother groomed him. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I believe that wholeheartedly because if you know anything about his mother was a PIM. I'm just saying. So I believe his mother groomed him for all of this, and I believe that he also groomed his sons for this shit. Because one of his sons, I believe Christopher, has a case going on. Who came up with this word government and what? Oh, yeah.
Government has no way
That's a good wonder.
of knowing whether there are other PAC or Contact Me ASAP accounts the defendant is using, of which the government is not aware. Put simply,
because he was using, there's some kind of texting service that they use at jail, and he was using it, and they brought that up in court because I don't know, I guess he was saying some shit on there. He brought it up in court. So then his lawyers try to say, oh, well, he's not been using it. But then literally the day of the court hearing, he used it. So that was something else they brought up. There's just so much that, and I'm trying to add everything and remember everything to get everybody caught up. But there's just so much because as HV said, messy, honey, messy is, there needs to be a bigger word for messy. Because this man and his people just, they power and control. They think they can just do whatever.
When the defendant uses other inmates' accounts, his communications are very difficult, if not impossible, for the Bureau of Prisons and the government to track and monitor. Such barriers to monitoring the defendant have real significant consequences, given Diddy's extensive efforts to taint the jury pool from the MDC. Even in the
he said that. He also said that. He said he wants to reach the jury because his attorneys, he put out a birthday video on his birthday, and his attorneys told him that he probably shouldn't do that. And he said, I don't give a shit. It's my birthday. I just need to reach one juror. So he is definitely, and these are conversations that he's openly even had on jail phone calls. So, again, power and control, thinks he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Do actions and have
communications with the government.
He can do whatever he wants and have no consequences for it.
Even through the communications the government has identified. Now, here's this. This is a lot of nerve. They said even after the defense counsel represented that Diddy has stopped using the Contact Me ASAP. If you guys don't know, it's a program where it's kind of like a gray area. It's kind of like not allowed, but it's allowed, where you can use somebody's email address. And when you use Contact Me ASAP, your email shows up in a text message, and then their text message gets emailed back to you. Diddy has been using fake names, even his son's name, saying, oh, I'm demailing my son. Oh, no. My plate's dying. I just noticed. I haven't been back in a while to water it. Diddy was using, I'm going to word you, don't worry. Diddy was using fake email addresses for his son and saying, no, I'm talking to my son. Meanwhile, he was talking to third-party people to track down witnesses without his lawyers even knowing about it, okay? So now they're saying this. The lawyers said, no, don't worry about it in 20 seconds. Your Honor, release.
His lawyers can't even control him. And that's his big thing, right? Because everybody's like, okay, well, we're going to put you in this apartment. We're going to do all this stuff and the security team and all that. And his lawyers, they're like, well, who's going to watch him? And they're like, oh, we got it. You don't have it. You didn't even know this clown was doing all this shit behind your back in jail until the fucking prosecutors came out with it. So what are you talking about? You can't control him. No one can control him. He thinks he's uncontrollable and untouchable.
So he's completely stopped using Contact Me, right? But the prosecution has proof of this now. They said even after defense counsel represented that the defendant had stopped using Contact Me ASAP, Diddy has continued to use the Contact Me ASAP account of at least one other inmate, sending messages to a family member as recently as November 24th. You guys, hold on, guys. Hey, I'm on live. Can I give you a call back? Okay. So, right? I'm not going to stop talking. Diddy, on February 22nd at that Bell hearing, Diddy's people were like, no, Your Honor. Oh my God, he can't use Contact ASAP. You're kidding me. Well, you know what? Good thing he stopped. And guess what? They even have him reaching out to a family member off of a fake Contact Me ASAP account without authorization after the day we was told to stop and told the court. His lawyers told the court that he stopped, right? November 24th, as much as Sunday night. And that's just who they can catch up to, because here's what's going on. They have all these calls going out to the Bureau of Prison, all these communications. They had to stream through each inmate's calls and emails and all this stuff to find out who is Diddy, who's letting Diddy use their stuff, and who's not. I'm just saying, if any inmates are watching this, you might as well let Diddy use your contact me ASAP. You might be able to get out 3, 5, 10 years early. I'm just saying. Diddy got money, but money can't buy your way out of jail. The feds can let you out of jail. Now, while at the detention center, the defendant has instructed...
I have to say I disagree with that, because money, I believe, can get you out of jail. Unfortunately, now most of us watching this, we will never have that amount of money. Just FYI, so I don't go out here doing shit, because if you're watching this, you probably don't have the money that's going to take you to get out. Because, I mean, the first time he offered $50 million, and they were crazy when they did that the first time. Was like, Judge, if you don't trust us, trust the money. Like, what? These motherfuckers is wild.
Family members and third parties to contact multiple potential victims and witnesses. Now, the funny thing is, Diddy's saying he's innocent, but it's funny, he knows who are potential witnesses and whatnot. Diddy has provided these instructions to others by using unauthorized means of communications, which is described above. By using unauthorized means of communications, which, as described above, are difficult to monitor and often using coded language. The potential victims and witnesses that Diddy has instructed others to contact include former romantic partners. You think he's reaching out to Young Miami? And former employees. You think he's reaching out to Brandon, reaching out to his chef, reaching out to Capricorn Clark, of course, reaching out to Kalina.
Yeah, I remember when he was submitted something to the court because he wanted to have the court grant him permission to have a private chef come in there and prepare his food. Like, it's the fucking audacity, right? And it's the privilege, and it's crazy. Because anybody that's ever been to jail, you know that jail doesn't work like that.
Former employees, most of whom have experienced or witnessed Diddy perpetrate significant violence. At the November 22nd hearing, defense counsel argued that these contacts went through attorneys. However, that's simply not the case. For example, Diddy asked a family member to call victim 2. Separately, Diddy had a family member three-way call a co-conspirator, and Diddy and the co-conspirator used coded language discussing a certain blank who has to blank noun. And, oh my God, are they planning to murk someone? Who has to blank noun? Wow. And blank, blank, blank. There's no indication that attorneys were involved in these contacts between victim and witnesses and third parties. Now, also, they're saying while Diddy was locked up, the defendant orchestrated a social media campaign around his birthday for the express purpose of influencing the jury in his criminal case. I didn't fall for that mess. As I said, I don't care how cute Baby Love is. You going to jail, literally. And the fact that there were so many people, but now I look back, was it actually people or were they bots? Were they bots? I hope it was bots, because there were so many people saying, that's their daddy. What else are they supposed to do? You're trying to help your daddy, this monster that they're about to outline, and that get out on the open street.
100% AGM, 100%.
Anyway, right? Okay, so he orchestrated a social media campaign around his birthday. You guys, we're just getting started. They have so much more. Hold on.
We're going to fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
Start getting to
the only Black African-American male to ever head the Southern District of New York as the Attorney General. A few influencers that have been contacted and what they actually use. But they're taking a videotape. And why do I think they're legit? Because I think it's Amala on YouTube or TikTok. She posted it everywhere. She told her story, what happened, and a bunch of other creators told their story. And one person even got the goons on video. And these goons, those are just two of
what they're talking about is, so there has been these people that have been going around And they have been going to YouTubers and different people that TikTok, just influencers that have big platforms, and they feel like that they've been talking against pitiful, right? So these goons per se have been going to people and saying, "Hey, are you getting paid?" And if people are like, "Yeah" or "No" or whatever, they'll be like, "Okay, well, we can pay you more money if you talk about him in a good light." So it's yeah, dude, there's so much bullshit.
Um, so it is happening. It is very, very real. I think I'm too far gone. They know not to do that. Please. And play around if they want. But all jokes aside, so I haven't been contacted. In all honesty, I wouldn't expect to be contacted. And honestly, I think if Diddy and them could actually get to where I was, they wouldn't be buying out. They'd be giving me a knuckle sandwich, dragging me to the Hudson to sleep with the fishes, right? The three girls telling their stories, are any of them legit? Listen, I'm not getting into that. I've given a platform to whatever I think is either being taken to court, what I believe the investigators are using, and whatnot. You also have to think these people that are telling their stories, have they been in front of the investigators? Are they a part of the trial in any way? Even Courtney Burgess and his shamala la la, whatever it is, self, he's been in front of the investigators too. Now, whether they found any veracity in what he was saying is different, but they have called everybody in that they think that there is an ounce of everything. I do believe that some of these claims can be easily disproven. It is not my ministry to do that. I don't believe we have to knock others down to get ahead. So that is not my goal at all, or to even discredit anyone, because there could be an ounce of truth in it. That's not my ministry. It really isn't. I am saying that as we move forward into this, yes, I appreciate you guys thinking I'm authoritative. Don't even trust me. Look into what everything and everybody does, because we are
100%. And I will say this too. Listen, it doesn't matter if you hear it from her, you hear it from me, you hear it from any other YouTuber. There are a lot of court documents, right? And that's the things that everybody has to concentrate on. Now, that's not saying that there is obviously not things that happened outside of these court documents, right? But why the court documents parts is important is because that's what's going to get him put behind bars. That's what's going to keep him in bars. That's what's going to all of that, right? Now, I do know for a fact that just because you don't go to court does not mean that things didn't happen to you. Does not mean that, especially in a situation like this, like, dude, let me tell you something. When you start speaking publicly, why, yes, there are plenty of people that will support you. There is just as many people that will victim shame you, blame you, tear you apart, rip your story apart, call you a fucking liar. It happens daily almost to me. So I can truly tell you that 100%, just because it's not in a court document. And it also doesn't mean just because it's not in a court document they didn't go and talk to people. Sometimes, and that's where some of these civil suits are coming in at, is sometimes there's evidence there but the statute of limitations is out. And so that's why we have so many civil suits that will be happening. But some of those civil suits had not only enough evidence to at least file a lawsuit, which then will be proven in court whether their evidence is, whatever. But let's see, what was that? There's also cases from that have been taken out, and the feds are allegedly using as well. So, but yes, do I think that there are going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of victims in this particular situation? I do. And I don't think every single one of them are going to make it to court. I also think as prosecutors, they're going to sit down, and I've seen this happen. They're going to sit down and they're going to take the things that are going to, win the case, like that have, pretty good substantial evidence that shows that this person has done this. And again, so I'm not going to sit here, like I said earlier about the young lady. A lot of people have been hitting me up about the young lady that, just kind of broke the internet within the last week, and she was telling her story. I did watch part one. I will be watching part two tonight. And I will say that, yes, something definitely happened to her. The only thing that, unless she is the chick that, is in court fighting to get her name not released. But we do know that his team, Diddy Pitiful's team, put some paperwork in to release all of the victims' names so they can, work their case, quote unquote. But I do know that they're trying to fight that as long as possible, because once that happens, then it becomes public records and everything just goes insane after that. Because once, especially in a case like this, once it goes public, it's just, there's a lot that comes with it that I don't think people understand. So I don't know.
Entering into a disinformation era, and baby, y'all been a Bible study, y'all been to Sunday school, y'all know what the devil does, right? Anyway, let's get back into this. But thank you so much for your question. They said, okay, so they say district courts have detained pre-trial defendants on obstruction grounds unless, see Quack. Quack, I think, was like that guy that defrauded somebody out of billions. They got him. They said the finding the defendant engaged in obstructive conduct, warning pre-trial detention when a message posted on one of his social media accounts accused prosecutors of bias. Let's not forget that Diddy's people in court accused them of racism. Right. Literally accused the only black African-American male to ever head the Southern District of New York as the Attorney General, the whole area. You accuse him of being racist. Okay. But anyway, right? Yeah. Who cares? Just did.
Sorry, ain't nobody buying that shit, dude. Ain't nobody buying that shit. He's done this shit to himself. He has done, and do I believe that he has done what he is being accused of? It is my right to have the belief, whatever I choose to believe. And from the things I have looked at, the stories that have been said for decades, and the things that I know, 100% I fucking believe it. And I believe that, like I said, I believe there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands more stories that we're going to hear. And it's going to be some shit that is going to be unbelievable. But again, when you get into power and control, and you get into this high up of of echelon of people, right? Like a simple sex worker is just, the regular shit. It just doesn't satisfy you. It doesn't do nothing for you. So the things get deeper, they get darker. And the more deeper and darker they get, the more deeper and darker they get. You know what I mean? So there's always that leveling it up of more crazy shit. So, so yeah, there'll be things that you guys will hear that are almost going to be unbelievable. But that doesn't mean they're unbelievable, or that doesn't mean that they're like not true, because they are very much. Things are going on like this.
Logic, there's girl math. That's Diddy math. Anyway, the defendant encouraged followers to harass victims in the case, and defendant previously used burner phones to conceal communications with co-conspirators. Sounds a lot like Diddy. They locked him up for less. Okay. They also said that the finding the risk of future obstructive behavior identified and articulable when defendant deleted messages, asked others to delete messages, and began communicating via encrypted messages applications. They said now this is important. At the November 22nd, 2024 hearing, Diddy attempted to distinguish his own obstructive conduct from more violent examples of witness tampering. These distinctions are unavailing. Diddy is charged with leading and founding a racketeering enterprise that on numerous occasions committed acts of violence, including, trafficking, kidnapping, arson. Some of these acts were done by Diddy, and others were done by his intermediates acting in his direction. Any of the obstruction and tampering by Diddy must be viewed through the lens of what underlying violent conduct is, as well as the lens of the defendant's enormous influence and power. Moreover, the Second Circuit has explicitly noted that both violent and non-violent witness tampering supports detention on the basis of potential obstruction. They quote La Fontaine It's a pivotal case where witness tampering by either violent or nonviolence means has supported detention and revocation of bail. They said likewise, other courts in this district have rejected arguments like those advanced by Diddy related to public relations strategies built on discrediting witnesses and improperly influenced prospective jurors. Now, let me stop right there. I thought that was wild when they said that Diddy is literally trying to run PR campaigns against witnesses. And the judge was like, he doesn't have a right to have a PR campaign? What are you talking about? Like, oh my God. Anyway, right? Hold on really quick. Is somebody texting me to change the subject? Okay. Okay. I'm not going to change the subject. Let's keep it into this. People worry about me so much. In the context of bail revocation, Judge Kaplan found that a similar pattern of obstruction conduct warranted detention in United States v. Samuel Bankman-Fried. That's a huge case. He's the crypto guy that his Forex trading defrauded a bunch of people. That case is instructive because unlike here, the defendant was charged with a non-violent crime, specifically perpetrating a multi-billion-dollar fraud scheme related to his operation of cryptocurrency companies that he founded and controlled, and was initially released on a $250 million personal reconnaissance bond. So they're saying, yeah, Diddy's saying you got $50 million, but baby, we released this man on a $250 million personal reconnaissance bond, okay? Subject to conditions, including home detention. However, after that guy, right, Bankman or whatever, reached out to a witness of an over a encrypted messaging service like Diddy did, using a VPN, which prevented the government or pretrial services from obtaining evidence of the website he accused, and funneled diary entries of a key cooperator to the press, the government moved in to revoke bail. Now, interesting enough, thank you for giving us that hint, government. So if y'all doing anything dirty, use an encrypted text messaging service, I'm guessing Signal, but while you're using Signal, have a VPN on and say you're in Kazakhstan, and the feds won't be able to trace it. Okay. Anyway, right? The court agreed with the government on the basis of his obstruction, finding that no condition or combination of conditions would assure the safety of the community and the consequences of witness tampering. The court rejected the defendant's alternative proposal, a gag order on communications with the press, finding that it was not a workable solution longer term, particularly with someone who has shown a willingness and desire to risk crossing the line in an effort to get right up to it, no matter where the line is. Finally, it cannot be ignored that Diddy's proclivity for obstruction appears to have continued as recently as last week in court, when it appeared that Diddy provided falsified documents to the court. During a hearing, y'all said it, we were lying. Title tells we've been vindictive. Y'all said we were lying. The feds right now in the Southern District of New York, lead prosecutor in a federal court document has confirmed that Diddy supplied falsified documents to the court. And the fact that the judge is looking at a man that had the...
How can the judge not... How is it... We are on fucking Tuesday, and I doubt we're going to get a, response today. How is he thinking? What does he have to think about? Like, he's done this shit while he was in jail. Like, what is there to think about? Why are they even entertaining the idea of him getting out? And I understand. Listen, those that know, we just got justice in the Breonna Taylor case. Hankinson will be sentenced in jail. They've already, filed an appeal, which, obviously, that's going to happen. But, shit, I remember we were in the courtroom and, shit just felt so dragged out because at times, you know what I mean? Like, they were arguing over what seemed to be some of the, silliest shit, but they, want to make sure that nothing goes through. But, so I get, the judge wants to, dot every I and cross every T. But, come on, what is there to really think about?
bald.
I couldn't even imagine being Cassie or any of these victims or any of the people. Yeah, I could not even imagine. Like, it's got me going nuts. So I'm sure people that are like actually involved in this stuff, like, dude, I feel so sorry for them right now. So send lots of love, light, prayers, whatever you believe in, good energy to all the victims, because yo, this shit's wild.
With all of his high priced legal to submit falsified documents to the court, he's unhinged. He doesn't have any, like they said of the other thing, his willingness and desire to risk crossing the line in an effort to get right up to it, no matter where the line is. Again, let's get into this again. Finally, it cannot be ignored that the defendant's proclivity for obstruction appears to have continued as recently as last week in court, when it appeared that the defendant provided falsified documents to the court. They put that in italics. Falsified documents, those are lies. He gave. Do you know how insane you have to be at a bail hearing when you are begging for freedom to give falsified documents to the court? That's like walking into the court, to a police station, and paying for your bail with a fake check. It's wild. The amount of...
I put money, though, it's been done. I put money on it that somebody has sit there, and that's probably why they don't fuck with checks anymore, you know, because people used to, yeah, fuck all that. That's stupid shit. I've done some stupid shit in my life, but let me tell you something. I don't purposely play with the government. Fuck that.
Not given a F. The amount of I'll do it as I please. Diddy is treating the federal government right now the way he treated his freak off victims. He'll do as he please, how he wants, and we're going to like it.
Yep. 100%.
It appeared that Diddy provided falsified documents to the court during a hearing convened to address his accusations of government misconduct. At the November 19, 2024 conference.
Mind you, yeah, this was his, he wanted to go into court because he's got, you know, proof the government's lying and all this shit, and then come to find out, he's the one that gave fake information.
Defense counsel represented the following about the condition of his legal notepads prior to the notepads being photographed during the MDC suite. Yana, at the top of the legal pad, he's handwritten in blue handwriting the word legal. All these legal pads say legal. Okay? That page was in a legal pad, and at the top of the legal pad, it was marked legal. Days later, in response to the court's order dated on November 20th, that's when the judge was like, yo, you made a fool of me. Where's this evidence? The defense counsel admitted that the word legal was written on the notepads after the notepads were photographed during the MDC suite. Why is that important? Because y'all know legal notepads. It's what you write when you do notes, okay? Now there's a photo of legal pad. That was in the material that the government gave us. Whatever it was earlier this week, that does not have legal on it. So it has to be the case that as of the day of the search, November 1st of this year, that legal wasn't written on every pad. He said that in front of the judge's face. The judge called them in a bold-faced lie, and the judge still is looking for a reason to let Diddy out. Again.
That's crazy. So this happened in court, and here we are sitting on Tuesday. That's nuts.
You know something, say something. The government is willing to provide any protection you need so that truth can be prevailed. 1-877-4-HSI-TIP. You've never been safer, more covered in protection than coming out now and contacting the government with your stories. The government has the resource, the acclamation, everything to put Diddy under. Don't believe these creators lying, saying it goes all the way to the top. How are you safer going on a YouTube channel, on Instagram, on TikTok, or Twitter telling your story? It makes no sense. Anyway, the inference is clear. After the borough...
I can tell you right now, I can understand 100% why victims would still be scared, even though the feds and the Homeland Security is involved in it. So, I just, as an advocate and as a survivor, I have to say that. So I do understand, and I do believe that there will be tons of people that don't tell their story because no matter what, they're scared. Because they have seen and they have firsthand experience with the torture this man can cause on your life, and his associates, allegedly, which I believe what I'm saying, just FYI. So I just had to say that. So,
A prison sweep. The defendant wrote legal on the top of at least one legal pad to support his argument that the materials in the legal pads were privileged. Again, I don't, maybe y'all get it, but I'm gonna beat a dead horse. Diddy is so manipulative and so diabolical that after the prison raid, he saw a way to use this to his advantage. And even though they saw notes about him doing this and that, and they photographed it, he then wrote legal on it because he knew that he could say that it was a violation of attorney-client
Right.
privilege, as a violation of his Fifth Amendment rights. He might be able to get a
he didn't know they took pictures of it.
trial, and he might be able to forget about getting out on bail, get all charges dismissed. And he lied and did it. He knew there was photo evidence. He knew the government knew there was photo evidence. His lawyers knew, and he still pushed.
Oh, so they all knew, and he still pushed it. He's an even bigger dummy. But then again, that psychopath, narcissistic fucking, yeah.
This narrative and brought it in front of the judge and tricked the judge and got that evidence improperly thrown out. Improperly thrown out. It's like, this man doesn't fear anything. He thinks he's unstoppable. And the judge.
If that happened, which I believe it happened in court, when that judge comes back, he needs to not only obviously deny, but he also needs to hold them accountable for that. Because, yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Trying to help him.
Wow.
At least I think. Maybe I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm reading the judge all wrong. We'll see what happens with the bail hearing. Maybe the judge just wanted extra questions so it wouldn't be a mistrial. That is it too, right? Because with Diddy's lawyers, we know what time it is. We know what time.
And that's what I just said a minute ago, right? 100% they need to make sure, because they know that they're going to do I mean, come on, y'all. If he did this shit, and they knew there was fucking evidence and shit, and they still went through it thinking, and they did get it thrown out. But now there needs to be repercussions for that, because obviously there's proof that there was not legal written on it, and you guys are, his team, they're wow.
The U.S. prosecutors are on. But with Diddy, with the judge, we don't know what time he's on yet. So maybe the reason it seemed like he was leaning toward bail is because he wanted to make sure there wasn't a mistrial, and he was asking all these questions. But he had pretrial services there, and pretrial services are usually...
Maybe he set everything in play to make it look like he was going to do something to go in his favor. That way his team can't sit there and be like, oh, they're trying to hold a black man down, like, or whatever that they've already said. And they're going to make sure that they have unquestionable amount of fucking evidence to keep him right where he's at. That's what I'm hoping. Because, honey, I don't even know what the fuck. I'll probably throw up immediately if I find out they let him out.
He only invited...
And I have nothing to do personally with this case. I'm just somebody that has survived shit like this and is obviously following the case like most of us.
Asked to be at a hearing when...
And supports the victims 100%.
And bail's being considered. And pretrial services are like, Your Honor, we don't recommend bail. So we see what's happening, right? Okay. The continued obstruction, while he had a pending bail motion, no less, should certainly be viewed in the context of all of Diddy's other acts of obstruction for purposes of bail determination. All right? Let's keep going.
I will say, and I have seen this, I have experienced this type of personality firsthand before. And when you're going through it, it's unbelievable, and it's kind of scary, because it's just like, what the fuck? But when you get out of it and it's all said and done with, you appreciate how stupid people can be. because there's some people get so full of themselves and do this kind of stuff, that it really bites them in the ass in the long run, and they have no one to blame but themselves. So I definitely recognize this type of personality.
Now they're getting into the danger. Oh, interesting enough, they actually, how many slides are there in this? We got 13 pages. We're about to get into how dangerous he is and how he tried to murk one of his employees. Threatened to murk one of his employees. But interesting enough, they also talk about Shine. Shine is listed as a footnote. I want to read that to you real quick. Evidence from the charge period is consistent with Diddy's decades-long. This is a footnote on page section 1, footnote 2. Evidence from the charge period is consistent with Diddy's decades-long pattern of obstruction, which the government continues to investigate. For instance, Diddy's prior 2001 state criminal trial, in which he was acquitted in connection with the New York City nightclub shooting, and defendants then.
Hold on. All right, my bad.
Driver testified that Diddy attempted to.
I just shared this video on my community page, because we're going to listen to this little piece, and then I'm going to end this one because I want to go into another one. But I wanted to give you guys a gist of what's going on. But I also don't want to play the whole thing because I want you to go and watch it and listen to yourself. And go like and subscribe. So holler.
Bribe him with a $50,000 ring to state that the weapon used in the incident was his and did not belong to Diddy. On November 18, 2024, Jamal Burrows, and you know what's so funny? I was like, who the hell is Jamal Burrows? I thought they were talking about Kurt Burrows, this Burrows. No, they're talking about Shine. His government name is Jamal Burrows. Okay. Jamal Burrows, Shine, the defendant's former Bad Boy Records protege and his co-defendant in that case make public statements about taking the fall for the defendant in the incident. Shine further stated publicly that following public allegations against Diddy contacted him to make sure that in sum and substance, they were still on the same page. Diddy has denied his involvement in the shooting and has sent a cease and desist letter regarding Shine's statements. Oof. Okay. Get this. They also did another footnote note saying Diddy's counsel stated on September 18th in the Bell hearing that Diddy did not reach out to grand jury witnesses. I dispute that wholeheartedly. He didn't do it and he wouldn't do it. I'm sorry. Let me read Mark Agnifilio. Mark Agnifilio said, Diddy did not reach out to a grand jury witness. I dispute that wholeheartedly, Yana. He didn't do it and he wouldn't do it. And he wouldn't do it because he has a sense not to do it. And he wouldn't do it because we wouldn't let him do it, you know? Then, at the November 22nd, 2024 hearing, defense counsel conceded about the deleted messages. I don't know the factual answer, Yana, in response to the court's inquiry regarding the circumstances of these communications. Okay,
Dude, he's gonna... And I'm not talking shit, but I'm gonna talk a little shit. So, you know how, like, I don't know, one of our presidents, he never got in trouble for anything. And this is how most of the presidents, I'm not even gonna focus, but I mean, this is just recent that I watched a lot of people around that person go to jail, and that nothing really fell onto that person, which kind of happens in power and control, right? There's usually the fall person, or the fall people. And then, his lawyers and them, they gonna keep playing and they gonna end up with some fucking charges. They better stop playing. And there's no excuse, like, right? Like, all of us, like, we may know certain parts of laws, may know some things, whatever, but yeah.
Let's get into the dangerous.
All right. So I'm going to end there. So we're ending at 135 mark. Go watch it though, because we did skip through. There was, so there's things that you can go watch. Again, I like her because she uses court documents, and why, especially like she was saying at this part, at this play in the game, that's what we have to focus on, because everything outside of that, whether if it's not in black and white right now once it becomes in black and white, then yeah, we can focus on that and we can talk about it. We can, um all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to what's actually going to be put in court is what matters. And so in my members only chat, what I do is I upload we download some of the actual court documents, and then I upload them in our members only. There is a couple in there now. I still have quite a few I need to upload, which I'm going to try to do that because I have 3 days off this week. So yay. Wednesday is my last night. So I'm going to try to do that in my little vacation I got right here. So we're going to go into, and this is already shared. I just shared it on my community page. You can go and check it out. All right. So this is
filed.
Let me rewind. Have not watched this. We're going to watch and listen to this together. She is another chick that I think is absolutely amazing. She does, it's called the Surprise Witness TV. She does court documents. She's big on that. Plus she has a little law background, so she is able to understand and break down things. And that's the type of people that I like to watch, people that are going to look at facts and try not to give yeah, you can give your opinion and stuff, but you don't change the facts, right? Because whether or what's being presented in trial on both sides. So something today, she just did this 2 hours ago. It says Diddy's secret apartment. He wants to live there. So in his bond, all this bond stuff, they talked about him going to Miami, and there was like a boat dock, and it's just like a big no. The judge was like, not happening. So then the lawyer said something about an apartment they have in New York, right? So she is covering something about it. I have not listened to this yet, but I like what she does, so we're gonna definitely watch it. And I'm actually going to share this on my community page as well right now. Like and subscribe. This is video we listened to today. All right, so this is also on my community page, so you guys can like them. You can go back and listen to them. You can, when you have time and you're doing whatever and you want something. This one's only an hour long. We're gonna scan through it, but yeah, let's go. And listen, we're very, very simple around here, guys. Like, I just got my 2 phones, and we're just going to listen together, and we're going to go over and give our opinions on different things. But again, I think these 2 women are very, very reliable in the work that they do. And so please go like and subscribe to both of their pages.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday? I am doing quite well. We are here today for yet another. Oh, it's just too bright. Hold on. It's just somehow eyes are so sensitive, especially since I've been in this new office. It's like a lot darker in here, so my eyes just don't adjust like that anymore. But this is a temporary one. I did post some sneak peek pics on my members only community feed. But anyway, okay. So we are back again for another video about the Diddy docket. Okay, we're talking about documents which were all filed in the last 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken. These are docs 80. I think I said 87. Yeah. 87 through 90. Okay. 90 was just filed. And it is about, let me pull up here. You can see it. Here's the docket.
So,
okay, so we are looking at the most recently filed thing is number 90 that was filed today. And then we had, a plethora here filed yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 docket entries yesterday. Okay, so the most recent one that we did.
And I will tell all you all, this is all public records. You guys can go and look all this stuff up for yourselves. Again, just because you hear from me or you hear from other YouTubers or the news or wherever you get your your information from, you can look this stuff up. This is all stuff that you could do on the computer. You could and it'll show the whole court dockets. There's public information. So you're right.
Our letter by Diddy. Yep, we did that one. We did. Okay, so I think the most recent one we read was 86. And then here's a letter, number 87. Okay, so let's start with 87. And let me pull that document up now too on the YouTube channel. If you're listening on the podcast, you probably won't obviously see this, but if you're here in the live chat, hello, hi. This is document number 87. Now, this is just a little petty letter, in my opinion, that Diddy's lawyers wrote to the judge yesterday. You'll have to go back and watch the most recent video that I just did in this Diddy docket one. If you're keeping up in real time, or especially if you're keeping up not in real time, the docket YouTube videos that I'm making, listen, this is how y'all will know, okay? Because it's, as you can see, it's starting to get confusing, right? Like, oh, which one did we do? They're all called letter, right? It's confusing. They all have a document number, okay? I have been putting, since the 70s, which is, not that many ago, but I've been putting on the thumbnail images, like the pictures that you click on to come into this YouTube video, I've been putting the docket numbers up at the top left-hand corner, right by it where it says live, if it's one of the live streams. But that's how y'all will know, okay? That's how you can keep track of it no matter what, okay? So now we're on docket number 87. And in my opinion, this is just a petty letter in response to the most recent filing before that, which was 86. And it's the government kind of using their briefing papers as an opportunity to make more arguments. And so here's Diddy coming back and saying, no, you can't do that. So this is yesterday, docket number 87. Dear Judge Subramanian, we respectfully submit this letter on behalf of Diddy in response to the government's letter dated at submitted today, docket number 86. Okay, so this is in response to docket number 86. The government's 13-page letter rehashes old arguments, adds new arguments, and seeks to supplement the factual record, even though the parties have already provided full briefing. And the court held a lengthy bail hearing on Friday, November 22nd. The court asked the parties for short letters on a very specific legal issue. Diddy's letter responded to the court's request and addressed only that issue. Mr. Combs objects to the government's submission to the extent it goes beyond responding to the court's specific question and requests that the court not consider any new or repetitive information in the government's letter. Okay, so this is submitted by Alexandra Shapiro, one of Diddy's lawyers, and she is saying, Your Honor, you asked what kind of communications Diddy could have, and they went all off the rails, rehashing old arguments. They included all kinds of new stuff, never heard of in my life. And so Diddy's lawyers is like, this isn't fair. Like, can you please not consider that? Like, we object to all that. Like, that's not fair or whatever. So that's just the whole thing. Like, this is the whole letter. So that's document number 87.
For those that don't know, they're going back and forth because one reason that Diddy's saying he should be able to get out is because he's not getting laptops and things like that so he can go over his case. So that's the argument that they're saying. Then the state, the feds were like, well, we have a laptop for him or something. I don't know. It's just been a lot of back and forth with that, which in this stage of the game, that's what a lot of this is.
Okay, so let's
back and forth.
Go back to our main docket here and see what document number 88 is all about. Okay, So 88 is actually a transcript. It is a transcript of the proceedings that happened on this is not the bail hearing, okay? This is the stuff that happened on November 19th. So the transcript is now available from the hearing that happened on November 19th. That was the one about the legal pad, right? And Mark Agnifilo stood up there and he was like, it's illegal. It says legal across the front of all of it. And the judge was like, oh my God, it says legal on it. Bring it up here. Let me look at it. And Mark Agnifilo brought it up, and sure enough, it did say legal. But then come to find out, the government took pictures of it before it ever said that. So now they're trying to say that Diddy falsified evidence. Okay, so all of that, the hearing about the legal notepad where Mark Agnifilo first made that representation, that was the November 19th hearing. So now that transcript is available. We will not be going over that transcript for two reasons. Number one, it is too long. I don't feel like it. And number two, you actually have to buy this separately, and it's a long process to get it. The transcripts may become available where someone actually does make them available. If so, then we'll be able to reference them. And then that is, again, docket number 88. The next document is docket number 89, and that is just the notice that that transcript had been filed. Redacted transcript deadline. Okay, so we can't get that yet. Okay. Release of transcript restrictions set on 2/24. Okay. So, all right. I should have read this first, but just to let y'all know, amendment to what I just said, this is live, so, it stays in, but it looks like it's not publicly available. Okay, so that's probably the main number one reason we're not going to be going over it, but it's not publicly available yet, but it looks like there is some extra time padded in for Diddy and the government's sides to redact things. Say they want stuff left out, so they, whatever. And then release of the transcript restriction is February 24th next year. So just in a few months, they are going to release the transcript, I guess. Again, I'm not really sure if we would still have to go through the whole thing of like reporting contacting the court reporter, paying, or if it just becomes actually fully public. I'm really not certain, okay? But that is what docket numbers 88 and 89 deal with. And that brings us to, I think, the most, exciting or whatever, like anticipated thing on the docket right now. It's the most recently filed. It was filed today, docket number 90. This is a letter by Diddy or, his lawyers addressed to the judge from Mark Agnifilo, dated today in response to docket number 86. So this is a letter. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. So this letter is actually in response to the government's letter that Mark Agnifilo just took issue with, right? He just took issue with that file, that specific filing, 86, right? Letter by the USA as to Sean Combs. This is a 13-page filing that the government was that Mark Agnifilo is just now real mad about, right? They put too much extra stuff and they added extra issues and they whatever, all that.
Yeah, he didn't want them
So in response to that,
he didn't want them to be reminded of the legal pad that wasn't written on there. I think that's funny.
Docket number 90. So docket number 90 responds to docket number 86, and it has to do with what types of communications that Diddy can be making, whether he's in jail or not. Okay, so let me pull that up. Okay. So, unsurprisingly, it's completely redacted all over the place. And it's from Diddy's lawyers, and it says, this short letter is in response to the government's long letter of yesterday and updates the court on one issue discussed at Friday's conference. Okay, so one of the issues which was discussed at the bail hearing where they stood up and talked and all that, they're updating. So Diddy's lawyers are updating the court on one issue discussed at Friday's conference. Following Friday's conference, the defense located a long redacted. Long redacted, long redacted. Okay, so I don't know what they located, okay, or what Diddy located. But following Friday's conference, following the bail hearing, Diddy located a lot of black redacted. This is an important safety measure. So whatever they're talking about right there was supposedly an important safety measure that better ensures the safety of Diddy, the security detail, and others. Oh, I'm dying to know what's behind this redacted. Oh, I'm dying to know. That is a lot of sentences. That is most of the paragraph. That is most of the paragraph. This important safety measure, this is an important safety measure that better ensures the safety of Diddy, the security detail, and others. So, what did he locate? What did they locate? I don't know. We have attached several photographs taken on November 25th of the building. So they got some pictures. And they put them right here. I can't see them. You can't see them. But it does say a security professional, I'm guessing from Patriot Security. A security professional is coming to the location on the morning of today, November 26, 2024, to assess the location, including the placing of cameras and other security measures. Y'all, they have the whole thing already planned out, like he's about to get out. Now, somebody was asking, why am I seeing reports that Diddy got let out on bail? I don't know. I have no idea, because this is the most recent filing, okay? And this is just a just in case. The judge still could, and very likely just still might, keep Diddy in jail. All right. These people are pushing, right? They're everything's already lined up, Your Honor. Look how easy it's going to be just to put them right in the conservatorship or jail, or in this case, right in the apartment, whatever, right? Like, it's just like it's very important that you have all the paperwork ready to go. The paperwork needs to be ready to go, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it goes on and it says, we have also spoken with pretrial services, they just pushing, which indicated that in the event Diddy is granted release on conditions, that pretrial services would want to inspect the location prior to Diddy living there. Okay, so they're saying, we've talked to pretrial services and they told us that they wanted to inspect the premises before Diddy would ever move there. In regard to the concerns raised by the government, the stringent measures laid out in our bail proposal include, as the court will recall, that Diddy will not have access to a cell phone. Rather, the cell phone will be in exclusive possession of the security detail, which will keep a written log of all incoming and outgoing calls, text messages, etc. Accordingly, all such, I'm going to need you to define the etc. Accordingly, all such communications will be maintained both in a written log and within the phone itself. Without getting into the merits of the government's various allegations, these conditions address them all, while also ensuring that Diddy has full access to his lawyers to prepare for trial and to defend the over 30 lawsuits which he is a defendant. That's all fine and good, y'all, but here's the issue. It's going to come down to the trustworthiness of whoever's actually in charge, right? In a jail context, it comes down to the trustworthiness of Diddy. Because everything they're doing there is supposed to be like, on the cameras and recorded and logged and this and that. And it's like, if somebody were to be helping Diddy, it would be like another inmate who could face consequences, or somebody that works there, a prison or a jail employee, like a actual, maybe a police officer, somebody like that. So it's like, they could still be obviously bought off and stuff like that. Things do happen. Corruption does happen. But like, okay, let's say we're going to take him out of the jail. Do you feel more comfortable? Do you feel more certain that Diddy is going to not have a cell phone, not have access to a cell phone?
Right, and he's been doing all this stuff while he's in jail. So if you're under their nose, you're under 24-hour surveillance, you're under all this, right? and you're in the government's hands and you're still doing shit. What in the hell? And then you lied. You brought evidence in and lied. You sit there and said that it had legal run on, which would have made these papers, his personal stuff for his case, so they couldn't have had access to it. Which, that's why they had the team look over it or whatever before the feds even got anything about it. Which that's, a couple, about a week or a couple weeks ago that all this happened, because there's been this every day something's happening. Sorry, let's go back to
He's just in his own apartment that he owns, being guarded by the security detail that is just babysitting him.
Right.
I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't say, okay, well, jail's not perfect, so and let's put him somewhere that's worse, like for the accountability factor, We thank the court for the time and attention it has devoted to our application. It's the thing about it is, y'all, you're probably not going to find another YouTuber, another, commentary person out here that is more sympathetic to Diddy's First Amendment, Sixth Amendment, Fourth Amendment, and all that rights. You really,
that black stuff that you see, that's retracted, so that way the public can't get certain things. And because this is talking about like where the place is and all that kind of stuff, that's why they're not gonna put it out to the public.
You're not. I do feel like I try to go above and beyond, out of my way, to preserve and protect Diddy's rights, because if I can't do that for him, then I feel like, why can I do that for like the next person down the street or whatever, like the next auditor or myself? It's like, obviously I want the sanctity of all of our rights to be respected, but then it kind of like I lose the sympathy at the part where it's like, I wouldn't have done the stuff he's done that we definitely have evidence for. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, even if we say, don't even take into consideration any of the things that we don't have evidence for, which I do believe. In my personal opinion, between you and me, I believe it, but that's just my opinion, right? The stuff we have evidence for, the video camera footage, right? The kicking, the hitting, the beating, the throwing. I saw it with my own eyes. Excuse me. I saw it with my own eyes. Okay. So there wouldn't be that type of evidence against me, because I don't do that. Okay. So Diddy also didn't say that it was fake. He did say it was altered for the purpose of misleading, but he didn't say that it was AI generated. He did not say that it wasn't him. In fact, he apologized for the behaviors on the tape.
All right. Then, yeah.
So
remember his apology video, for those that didn't get to see it, because he deleted it, but it's still, people have screen recorded it. It's everywhere. You can do a simple Google search or on YouTube or TikTok or any of them, and his apology video will come up. It's fucking ridiculous. Which it wasn't even up 24 hours. Like, I don't think, I could be wrong, but it wasn't up long. I know that much. I'm not good with times and lengths of times unless I have it written down, but you get the point.
I guess for me, what it really comes down to is, can we trust Diddy?
No.
Not to act a damn fool, even in the jail.
And he's already done that.
Unfortunately. I mean, just from the common sense, like, I'll say, me, can I, in my opinion, trust him? I don't feel like I can. When you locked up under the 13th Amendment. Yeah, but there's still rights, even if it's the 13th Amendment applies. He should not be released. There is so much evidence to keep him locked up. He's a threat to people. He's not trustworthy, Randy Krause said. Let's see. Thanks so much, Louisa. That's on my third. Diddy. I saw Diddy's even trying to me for the 35 DKK super sticker. Appreciate that. Black Gold said Diddy pew a woman in the face and lied about it. I mean, I know that was alleged. I do think he did not get convicted on that, though. Let's petition. Thank you. There's so much more reason to keep him locked up than to grant him bail. That's a good point, I think. Diddy can't be trusted. Look at what he's done while in jail. And dog mom, I mean, this is what the government is saying. Like, Your Honor, even if you don't believe any of our evidence we brought to the grand jury before this, you need to believe, look what he's doing in jail right now.
Right.
They do, Aisha. They come. One time I started choking so bad, it was like I couldn't breathe. My eyes were watering and it just went on and on. And so then I had to leave. I had to put my little cover over my screen. It was Diddy's demons choking me. Sometimes it's the Freemason ghost. They did it one time while I was investigating Freemason. Diddy is the head of GH baby oil. GH baby oil gang. What is that? Girl, I'm serious. I'm telling y'all, I was crying. I was running nose. My nose was running. Yeah, I'm very unserious. This is not a serious place. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all. So y'all, this is what they want to do. They want to put him. They want to put him in this apartment. They saying the security is gonna have his phone, and they're gonna keep track. They're gonna keep a notebook. Well, if I'm the government, I'm gonna argue.
Yeah. He's before I even hear what she's gonna say. He's used faked emails. He's done all kinds of crazy phone calls. He's used other inmate stuff to do all kinds of shit. Why he's in fucking jail? So come on, man. He had a to-do list in all his paperwork that was not for his court case.
Kind of like how he was supposed to be keeping all his text messages, but he's got text messages that were deleted from his phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Between witnesses or victims or whatever.
Yep.
As for trusting him, some security guards to do the right thing. I mean, I'm saying, Kiara, are you going to be covering Drake's new UMG lawsuit? I'm thinking about it, Chill Mary. I haven't read it yet, but I'm just like, I kind of feel like I'm being pushed in that direction. Like, I just feel like it's like, why do they keep trying to make me care about Drake and what he's doing? You know, it's like, I kind of feel like that about it, but I gotta read the lawsuit first and then I'll decide. Meek doesn't have a ghost. There's no Meek male ghost demons. Thank you, beautiful messy ball, for the $4.99. The fact people are comparing his bond to the Abercrombie and Fitch CEO and making it a race thing boggles my mind. JE and GM were not given bail. Yes, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. It is very interesting to me. That he's trying so hard to say that him and Jeffy are the same. I mean, excuse me, him and what's his name, Jeffries, the Abercrombie guy, are the same. He's like, oh, we're the same. Let me out like you let him out. But they're not the same. Their charges are different.
Right.
Thank you for the $5 Canadian super sticker, Little Devil Care Bear.
Because as we all know that know anything about the stuff he's got going on, it's not just the trafficking stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he has RICO, there's a lot of different things. That there were guns with sawed off serial numbers. There's just a lot of things that, are just different.
It's cute. They being government or his lawyers. I don't know what the question, what the context was, Angie. Not an ashy limb inside. What? What? Diddy, his security team, mama, baby mama, kids. No one can be trusted, Naomi said. It feels that way. It definitely feels that way.
From quote unquote
threatening witnesses on
pneumonia.
TikTok. Who did that? Oh, right. When am I going to interview that guy? I don't know. I gotta have a lot going on. I gotta get back in touch with him, but I should do that soon. Hell, thanks so much for the one gifted membership. We really need to get with how our world is run by. Girl, I don't think so. Y'all give them a lot more credit. Than they deserve, because I never consented to my world being run by none of them people. So maybe your world can be run by them. I do not consent. They do not have my will. They do not have my consent. So I know for a fact they can't do stuff without people's consent. So they don't have my consent to run my world. So take it up with your rule book, slick. You know what I mean? Thanks so much for that 199 super chat. Diddy AIOs. Wait, what? I don't know what this what these I don't know what this is. What you talking about? What that means? Word details. Now, important. The hot sledgehammer, like the most hot, like intense, and she ends up getting put in them same ambulances. And you know what, too? She was like, and her friends that she went there, it was a production and it was meant to happen. Like, she said, I never saw 2 ambulances. And she said, and lo and behold, it was those 2 ambulances that did end up taking more details. Now, importantly, Natanya, she has been saying the same story and has been talking about it for, it was just weird. Like, face, like she got, I want to put the link because I want y'all to go and listen to Natanya in her own words. But y'all, I was listening to her and she was talking about that night. This was just yesterday. She was live with some other creators. And she was talking about how, like, when she was even getting dressed that night before she went out, she had just kind of given her life over to the Lord. She described it as getting saved like in October. This was in December. And she was going out with her friends and she's getting dressed that night. She's about to leave out the door and she's like, she hears God telling her to change her shoes or something. I mean, it was a whole, like, there was all these warning signs like leading up to it. And she describes them and she was like, I've been out in Manhattan. Naomi said never changed her story once.
Yeah,
she said I was
the girl that got shot in the face at the nightclub.
Teaser tells no, it was a guy. It was 2 men actually. I don't remember the name of the. Let me see. Hold on. I did text it to a couple people. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. It's discuss. Okay. It's Too Strong. Too Strong is the name of the channel.
Oh yeah.
Let me show y'all it. Right here, because this is somebody who was there. She was there that night, and Naomi said hadn't changed her story. Never changed her story. This is her right here at the bottom, Natanya. And
so this is the girl that was involved with where J-Lo was involved in at the nightclub where she was shot in the face.
And I guess this is too strong. I don't know. I'm sorry, never been on this channel before, but it was a great interview, and they really do just kind of like really let her tell her story. But yeah, she's describing stuff that happened that night. She's like, we get up to the the club basically, and she was like, there was like no cars, like it's middle of Manhattan, middle of Times Square, like the busiest part of Manhattan, West 43rd Street. And she said before we even got in the club, there was 2 ambulances in the middle of New York City, Manhattan, Times Square, just parked right in front of the club. And she was like, it was just weird, like why is there's these 2 ambulances? She was like, it almost was just like it was a setup, like it was a production and it was meant to happen. Like she said, I never saw 2 ambulances. And she said, and lo and behold, it was those 2 ambulances that did end up taking me to the hospital, she said. And she said when she saw them, she just was like, are they expecting somebody to die? And you know what, y'all, I believe her. I sure do. So yeah, I did see that. I did see that. Was... Young Thug, okay, thank you, beautiful messy ball, is updating us on the Young Thug. Took a no.
Oh shit.
Young Thug, okay, thank you, beautiful messy Alfred. They're completely. I think it's Alfred.
Okay, I think she's just
are actually the people who.
So she's just hanging out with her chat now. So I did share her page on my community page with this video that we were just listening to. If you want to go and look, watch everything again, please go like and subscribe. She breaks down a lot of different cases, but she's another chick she tries to keep her opinion, and when she does give her opinion, and so does Tessa, both of them, when they give their opinion, they let you know it's their opinion. Otherwise they go by what's in black and white, which is the court documents, which, everything outside of that, listen to, pay attention to, because there is definitely a pattern, but really focus on the court documents. There are a couple of the cases that were released earlier, some of the civil suits I have in my members only. I will be uploading as soon as I can, hopefully during this little 3-day weekend I get. I'll be able to do some of that, but yeah. So that's what we've listened to for today. So I'm going to go ahead and end this because I'm going to chill for a little bit before I have to go to work. So I will see you guys later. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. All you got to do is double tap the screen, and also subscribe if you are not subscribed. We'll see you later, and you will know when I'm doing stuff on this because it'll always say, update, and it'll say listening party. And this is what we'll do. So, all right, holla at y'all. Talk to you later. And like I said, go like and subscribe both of the chicks that we listened to today. They're on my community page.